Hey guys, so today I want to show you guys something cool that has just hit the GCW 0. Now this console's been out for some time, and you may or may not have been following it, you may or may not have one, but the console is always progressing, just very, very slowly. So today I want to show you what has just hit the scene, and I'm going to show you the JIT version because there is an interpreter version which I haven't installed, but the JIT version is supposed to be faster, but both versions have their issues right now, and it is an N64 emulator and it's the alpha. So first off, I think we all know one of the most iconic games on the Nintendo 64 was Super Mario 64. So if we run that, you'll see that it says launching N64 Plus Alpha, and then it will actually launch the game. Now regarding sound, it's very, very glitchy. Sound, it's fairly smooth on this game, but see, it goes to smooth there, and then it's very different. With each title, the game sound can be distorted or it can slow down, but the sound seems to slow down quite a lot on every game for certain periods of time. As you can see as well, the analog stick sadly doesn't work yet for the emulator either, so you'll be using the D-pad for everything else, which is a slight letdown, to be honest with you. But it's this is a work in progress. This emulator just popped up. This emulator just popped up on the forums, and so it's still a work in progress. I think people are going to pick up on it and improve it somewhat, and make it much better. But as you can see, Super Mario runs fairly smoothly. A few other things I've noticed as well is there's been some weird sort of texture bugs here and there, so that included with the sound. It's kind of strange because the actual game seems to run pretty smoothly. It's just everything else around it doesn't run so smooth. Really bizarre. But anyway, we'll turn that volume down, and yeah, as you can see, the game looks pretty good on a small screen. I will say it looks pretty decent on a really small screen. Everything's readable, the text isn't too bad on this game, and yeah, my analog stick is really sticking lately. My analog stick, my D-pad, but yeah, as you can see, it runs fairly smoothly. No issues whatsoever until I get into the level, and into a level is when it'll start running a little slower, only a tiny little bit, but very sort of, it's still noticeable, if you know what I mean. It's a fractionable difference, but it's still noticeable. But I'll show you that now anyway, before we move on to the next Nintendo 64 game. Now I do have a couple of requests from one of my viewers. He's asked for a couple of games to be shown, and they will be shown today. There is one game that or a couple of games I'm not showing, which is the Mega Man 2 and 3, but I have got Mega Man 1 for you to see. I wish my D-pad didn't sound so bad. Sounds like I'm going to break it. They still haven't upped anything on this device, like the HDMI out still doesn't work. I'm not sure if the TV out even works still. The mic doesn't work. Loads of stuff that should have been implemented by now hasn't been implemented, just because the progress is so slow. Which is a shame, because it's, you know, as I said in my review, it's definitely a console that has everything there that could be utilized. So as you can see, it does run a fraction slower. I don't know if it's just me, but it seems to run a fraction slower. The sound is also very, very iffy. So that's Super Mario. Now to get out of this, we simply press start and select, and boom, we're out of the emulator. Now the guy on the forum, the guy on YouTube has asked me to show some Goldeneye. I actually found quite a lot of issues with Goldeneye. It runs very slow on the JIT version of the alpha, and the sound effects are pretty terrible too. So yeah, I'll show you anyway, just so you can get an idea of how it differs between games. Oh, that rare logo. Come on, it's been a long time since Rare made a decent game. Also, I'm not entirely sure how to save it yet. I don't know if you can save it. One thing I haven't really found out how to do. So actually it takes a while to load in, and then when it loads in, it's really quite slow. Again, this could be improved on the interpreter version, but I don't have it to try. I just wanted to show you guys the JIT version, which is supposedly the slightly faster version. But as you can see, it's really slow on Goldeneye. The game is virtually unplayable right now on the JIT version. Hey, it's just the way it is. Hopefully someone will improve it. Yeah, it's really strange. Also, I found firing on this game, you know, no iron sights, man. It's been so long since I played a game with no iron sights. So this game would have been really tough back in the day to actually play, because you just kind of have to guess where they are. But yeah, as you can see, it runs really slowly, really slowly. For that reason, we're going to switch it off. So that was Goldeneye. Sadly, it runs really slowly. I would show you Conkers Bad Fur, which does run. It does run slowly, but it runs better than, you know, 60, 70, 80% of the emulators out there. There's just a few graphical hitches and a couple of sound issues. I know a guy on YouTube wanted to see Paper Mario, so I downloaded that too, so you could see that Paper Mario actually runs really quite well. It's only a 2D game, so Paper Mario runs pretty well on the GCW. Basically, the bigger the game, the longer it will take to load up, so sometimes you could be sat at that screen for a while. I tell you what, I will show you Conkers Bad Fur. I'll show you the intro and stuff in a minute. Just to give you an idea, that it's a much bigger game, and it takes a much longer time to load. So you will notice that with the emulator itself. The sound on this is actually really good as well. No issues with sound whatsoever. So as you can see, I've picked my file. For some reason it hasn't saved my previous attempt, which is kind of frustrating. But basically we'll try and skip through as much of this as possible. But you can see it runs smoothly. It runs really quite good. So the GCW clearly has a hardware there that is capable of emulating N64. I just hope it doesn't take too long for someone to pick this up and improve on the build so that we can actually play N64 games with the analog stick, and you know, we can play them at full speed. I know the guy on the forum seems a bit skeptical and said it would take him a year to get an extra 100% speed. But who knows? I'm hoping someone could pick it up and possibly just do some improvements, and maybe we could see that speed improve and the sound and graphical issues come together so that the games are nigh on perfect, which would be awesome, because I'd love to carry around a handheld N64, mate. I mean, I'm not saying that I don't have an Android device. You know, the JXD S7200B does all of that, easy peasy. But I just think it would be cool to have it on a smaller screen. You know, the game isn't quite so scaled up. It looks nicer on a smaller screen too. And yeah, I think the smaller screen does it justice. See, as you can see now, there's some graphical issues with this game. Luigi is behind me, but for some reason, he's a block. And this seems to be, you know, intermittent. See, he shows up there. Really strange. Really strange. So as you can see, the game does run smooth. I'm running about now. Runs really smooth. Luigi's graphical hitch has disappeared. And yeah, pretty decent. So next we'll go on to Conkers Bad Fur, just to show you guys what this is like. So you see, it'll say launching N64, M64 Alpha, and that's Mupen64, so it's a well-known emulator, and it's been trimmed down for the GCW, which is cool. And yeah, it'll take a lot longer to launch Conkers Bad Fur Day. But it does do a pretty good job at emulating it. Well, especially the beginning anyway. There's a few graphical hitches here and there, but nothing like on the PC where it just completely bombs out on this game. I didn't get into gameplay, but we'll do that now. And we'll show you guys what it's like, you know, if this video doesn't run too long. Because you can't really skip all of these. Also, yeah, the sound is a bit glitchy here, but as you see, he's missing part of his face, but he still looks like a badass, even with that part of his face untextured. In fact, it makes him look even more like a badass like that. I think if Conker had turned up with a face mask like that, you know, he'd look like some kind of armed robber. But you can see that it does emulate it. On the PC and stuff, when this emulator first came out, Conkers Bad Fur Day was literally unplayable to the point where nothing would load properly. And on Android today, it still doesn't load any of this as good as this. Even with that glitch in the top left corner, the Android version doesn't load any of this properly. It's all messed up. So, you know, this is pretty decent. So we're going to game 1, and we'll see what happens. New game. And I haven't done this before, so it may load, it may not load, we'll find out. But again, we can't use the analog stick, which sucks, so we're going to have to use a D-pad to move around. But I'm presuming now it'll play that little video where he says, "Oh, it's my bad fur day, yada yada." Now, we'll see how it fares in playing that. And sorry for the long video, guys. I know it's going to be like 20 minutes long at this rate. But we're just showing you what we can do with this. Bit by bit. So yeah, it'll play the usual intro. I'm not sure how it'll play this, whether it'll be any good or what. Okay, so his face is still messed up, and I'm guessing, yeah, the sound is really bad right now. Right, so it's going to take forever to get through this cutscene by the looks of it. If not, it may have even stopped. I think it's stopped. So Conkers Bad Fur Day isn't actually playable, which is kind of sad. I was hoping it would be kind of playable, but it seems to me like, oh, maybe it isn't stopped. I don't know if it's zooming out or what. It might just be my eyes. But it does seem like it's virtually unplayable right now, which is sad, really sad, because I was hoping that it wouldn't be. I mean, we've still paused the game, which is weird, so it must be really slowly showing the introduction. Yeah, it is, yeah. Maybe it is playable. But how long does this intro take? Anyway, to cut this video shorter, we're not going to bother with this. Unless you guys really want me to do a separate video to show you if it works. I think actually, I don't know whether to wait or not, guys. I think I might wait and wait with you so we can see actually what happens once the game loads, because we're nearly there now. We're not too far away from there, I don't think. I hope not, anyway. I can't remember how many cutscenes were at the beginning. But after this, there's a couple of requests I had again from the same YouTuber that requested Paper Mario and Goldeneye. And they are the Mega Man 1 and Link's Awakening, I think, for the Game Boy Color. So I will show you them straight after we figure out whether this will work or not. Again, sorry for the length of time it's going to take. But yeah, I'll show you them, and hopefully you can get a good idea of what they're like. They play pretty much flawlessly on the GCW. You know, it does GBA, GBC, SNES, SNES, it even does Sega Mega Drive and stuff like that. All those types of games, it runs flawlessly. It's just when it comes to the 3D games like PS1, which apparently it can run certain PS1 games. However, I've not found anything to use with the GCW, but apparently hidden on the forum somewhere there is a PS1 emulator for the Zero, and it does work quite well. And obviously now we've got the N64, so we've got the start of something new. So hopefully soon we will have the N64 and the PS1 emulator side by side running all the games we'd like to play, and that would be super awesome, and it would definitely give me more reason to play my GCW Zero. Even more reason if they finally implement that TV out, because right now, you know, you can't output it to your TV, and it's really disappointing that all the stuff, all the hardware that's included on this device is not utilized at all, pretty much. Most of it isn't, you know. There's no multiplayer games, which again is sad, because this would have been perfect for a super cool multiplayer RPG. Even if it only had 2D graphics, you know, you could use that mic to speak to other players. It'd be a cool idea. But I guess developers' time and money make it more of an issue than anything, because you don't really purchase games for this device. It's kind of a sort of like a source-free code, and in which case your games have to be released for free. I'm pretty sure we're near the end of the cutscene right now. Okay, so we've got Conkers Bad Fur Day. I'm hoping there isn't another cutscene with the bad guy, because I have a really funny feeling there is. Okay, this is the cutscene with Barry. What I will do, guys, is I will cut the video so we don't have to watch all this, and then I'll bring it back in when we can actually play the game. Hey guys, back. So I've been waiting about 15 minutes for all the cutscenes to play with Conker. It took a lot longer than I expected, but we're finally here. So the game does play. It is probably very, yeah, it's not very fast, so it's probably virtually unplayable, which is a shame. But it's still even closer than what I remembered on the emulator when it first kicked off on PC. It's very close to being perfect. Just a few texture issues here and there, and obviously the speed up needs to be pretty significant. So that's Conkers Bad Fur Day, guys, and so you can see kind of what works and what doesn't. Obviously you can get the interpreter version yourself. The link to the forum will be down below, and check that out. There's the JIT version and the interpreter version. The interpreter supposedly runs things slower, but has a better compatibility than the JIT version. So yeah, go test that out, guys. And for the viewer that commented on my previous GCW video, here's some stuff for you. So you wanted to see some particular games, and I will show you them now. I've already shown Goldeneye, so, and Paper Mario. I'm sure we, what we wanted, NES. Was it NES we needed? Yeah. Right, so this is Mega Man on the NES emulator. So as you see, it runs super fast, it runs perfectly. Doesn't run widescreen, 4.3, but you know, it's still pretty cool. Although I'm getting fresh, I've never played Mega Man before. You son of a bitch. Oh my days, man, this is frustrating. Get out of here. This is what Mega Man was like? Jesus. Thank God I never grew up in this era. This game is just tough. So yeah, that's Mega Man. As you see, it runs really smoothly. No problems there. I'm trying to think what else there was. I think there was a yeah, Game Boy Color game as well that you requested. So we'll head to the Game Boy Color emulator. And we've got Game Boy, but I'm not sure. Yeah, that's Game Boy Color emulator. There we go. So we'll click on that, and Game Boy Color, and we got Zelda here as well for you. For some reason though, this one, I don't know. Can we press start and skip that? Yeah, for some reason it's on a really small screen. I'm not entirely sure why that is. If you can see that, we're in the center there. Really small screen. So I'm not entirely sure quite what's going on there. But the game does work. And it may be that one of the other emulators makes it full screen. But it works well, and it's really quite good. No issues at all with Game Boy Color games. It runs superbly. No graphical errors anywhere. No sort of bugs or anything. Honestly, it runs really well on this device. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and for the guy who requested the games, thank you for commenting on my video, and thank you for requesting some stuff to see. You know, it makes me want to actually get out there and do some more stuff. And I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, like, comment and subscribe, and I shall see you soon with another video, guys. I'll be live streaming Fallout later, so if you want to get onto my YouTube, watch some Fallout 4 live stream, then go ahead. Cheers.